freewheeling cavalcade of circular motion, thus defined by the octagon table of double-wide mental introspection and dedicated utilitarian outward thinking in defense of zero content. Translation: we ain't got nothing.
Oh, hey folks, dude here yet again, narration of Dude After Dark. Let me turn off Binky. Okay, Binky stop blinking, which is always a good sign because when Binky is blinking, Binky is not off. Binky is now currently off. All right, so let me get my poop straight here. So I'm now currently looking at things, correct stuff into the room. So I actually know what's going on. Martina Sasquatch, dude, you're like. You're sitting there waiting with the little button going, now. You definitely get the gold star for attendance. Okay, good stuff like that there. Waiting for other people coming in the room. I do actually now have the chat room popping up so I can see it. Good stuff like that there. I really, truly just like to have the chat room on the larger monitor. Yes, if you guys know how it works when you do a live, showing. Hey, I put my other phone. I think I left it upstairs. Anyway, so the way it actually works is essentially there is, of course, the screen that you're looking at. There's, of course, little doodads and bebops. I don't even touch those. And actually, there is text that pops up in the block in the bottom of the page. Slight problem. It really, truly is bitty, okay? And if you get older, you need peepers. So of that I shall say no more. But I actually now can drive without glasses, and so that part has improved, and that's the kind of good stuff. But I don't need to have the doctor working on my eyes. Sound guy, stop, okay? It's not like they're going to be doing any kind of digging in and stop, sound guy, stop. Anyway, wait 2 hours to. Oh, that's right, because you're over on the West Coast, as it were. So I do appreciate your time and effort, attendee and good stuff like that there, good standing. So anyway, I don't need my eyes worked on because my vision has actually shifted. I started out as 2100. I'm now to 2025, or that last 10% or so, or what is it, like eighth of a diopter, quarter of a diopter, or whatever it is, that I'm currently off from perfect 2020. I can drive actually like this legally. My license still says, I need glasses. The eye doctor was even like, you can drive it legally. I could actually send you with a note to the MVA and they can update it and whatnot. It's like, leave it. So, that way it's a surprise to somebody when I drive without glasses. And if I ever get pulled over, I can just tell the cop, look, it's had a vision shift, this, that, and the other thing, I can actually read the sign of it, and I can actually do an eye test on the side of the road and mess with the cop there for a sec. So, excuse me a second here. Oh, speaking of hoisting our glasses to the greatly dear departed, let us all pay homage to the Prince of F-chucking darkness. Trying to keep it clean here, but the Prince of F-chucking darkness, Ozzy Osbourne, sir, we salute you. You gave us good music for many, many years. You left on your own terms doing that last concert, which you still sounded really damn good. And you had myriad major health problems, but you still pulled it off. I salute you, sir. To Apps Companions, hoist one if you got them. We commend you, sir. I know that was one of the other things too, is also seeing him performing. It's like, dude really does not look great. He probably does not have long for the world, and absolutely left on his own terms. What? Binky still turned on. Binky, bedtime. Okay, bedtime for Binky. Okay, I think you're off. I might have tapped the switch as I was putting it down. Really disconcerting, when I have this haunting glow coming up from down below, and it's, Martina Sasquatch, sweet leaf for Ozzy tonight. Yeah, I think the best one I've seen so far was somebody did an AI drawing where it was obviously Lemmy from Motorhead and Ozzy, both of the two British guys hanging out, and somebody put above it, I hope they're gonna crack a bottle and do a line tonight in heaven. It was like, that's just good stuff. Anyway, so let me do a real quick check here. Hang on one second here. Okay, what? No,
don't want to come.
No, stop. Okay, well, all right. I think they might get some of that too. I hit the stop button. Sound guy, yeah, I guess they're gonna be getting a little bit of well, yeah, they're gonna get maybe more than a little bit of So anyway, hopefully things are working out in regard. They are now doing things well, thus assuredly. Wow. Hang on a second here. Let me scrolly. Da, 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 da. Hang on a second. I know I got it in here somewhere. No, that's not it. Oh man, what the heck did I do with that file? Anyway. You know what? I'll probably find it after I'm done with the show and go, oh, that's what I had it filed as. Yeah, because that's just the way things work. Stop that, sound guy. It's not like old guy memory stuff, all right? Stop. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Yeah, so I'm sure they're up in heaven now, and
Ooh, Snortsky.
I just snorted a suitcase full of coke, and I'm starting to feel the effects.
Yeah, suck that dust up.
I like it.
yeah, I'm sure they're enjoying themselves without restrictions to bodily limits and all the rest of that. I'm sure there is none of that upstairs, sound guy. I'm thinking that they're having a good old time with.
Ooh, Snortsky.
Yeah, they're having a really good time with Snortsky. Hopefully they're
I just snorted a suitcase full of coke, and I'm starting to feel the effects.
Yeah, suck that dust up.
I like it.
Okay, anyway, yeah, I think they're having a good old time doing some Snortskis and other stuff. Anyway, good stuff like that there. Let me go over to the news, as it were. Let's see, scrolly. I found this one, and this is unbelievably obtuse on this person's part. So, this is probably a Instagram or one of those things, but the person is Brooke with an E, so Brooke period talks period politics, and they have the check mark. Might be Facebook or Instagram. They got the blue check mark, and they're saying about alligator Alcatraz down in Florida, or actually the new mega prison put together for illegal aliens who decided not to self-deport, but decided that they're just not leaving the country and they're going to hang out, and hopefully they don't get found out. And sound guy. Okay. Hopefully, they're thinking. Hopefully, they don't get busted before. Before that happens. Anyway, Brooke talks politics. Blah 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 blah. People in alligator Alcatraz are being given. I can't talk today. People in alligator Alcatraz are being given wristbands with a number on it. They must wear for ID purposes. Lady, have you ever seen prisons? Everybody's got numbers on their stuff. Their ID in prison is a number. That's how they're identified. Usually when somebody does something criminal, they're wearing an ankle bracelet, which has an ID number. You ever seen that type of stuff? Maybe. Potentially. Going back into it. I'll say it again. We are assigning numbers to human beings. It's truly giving 1936. I saw that and I was like, you know what? It must be idyllic to live in moron land. Mostly because this stupid see you in Toledo really doesn't know history. So I said, you know what? It must be an F-chucking shame, and I didn't say F-chuck. It must be an F-chucking shame if they had to get tattoos like the Jews got from the Nazis in World War II. Yeah, permanent marking And it is probably one of the most surreal things ever when you meet somebody with the numbers on their arms. Wow. I've actually had that occasion once. And little old lady, I was very, very nice to her. Took my very, very slow conversation time period with her to make sure that she knew that I knew I was really listening to her. Because somebody who's been through that kind of stuff, you kind of have to be a little nicer to them. Patriot Fever, appreciate you coming by, sir. All good stuff like that there. Let's see, what's Patriot Fever saying in the room? Patriot Fever and Little Patriot 4 reporting in. Oh, appreciate it. Gators prefer odd number escapees or Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays. Let's give it a sec. I think one of the funniest phrases that really hasn't gotten utilized enough, but somebody referred to alligator Alcatraz as Gator Gitmo. I've been thinking that's actually more appropriate. I like Gator Gitmo. Have selective mutism. I've never heard of secretive vision to current events, but all these critters suffer from. Yeah, it's literally a leftist affliction, and of the highest order. They just truly don't seek reality. Wow. This one I found very, very interesting, and this one's actually kind of a harder nameplate to actually apply to this guy, but I'll try to read it off and hopefully it works. So it's at 8 TRAC, or I'm sorry, Q, TRAQ _ truth. So I guess 8-track truth. I guess he's talking about, like, the old cassette style stuff. Well, anyway, he's talking about Trump and the whole thing about releasing Epstein files and all the rest of this happy horse mess. So he said, actually, here's the chronology of it, and here's actually what he said. I would not worry so much. Trump didn't just throw his legacy away. 2004, banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago. 2005, reported Epstein's behavior to authorities. Now, the reason why he got banned from Mar-a-Lago was he was creeping out on some guy's, other guy's child, and Trump was like, oh, hell no. Buddy, you don't get to get any of the... No. That's a kid. You don't get that. And if you try that, you're going to get booted. So he got booted and banned from Mar-a-Lago. 2009, cooperated with Epstein victims' lawyers. So on the other side of the aisle, I was like, okay, this guy's a creep. I know what he's up to. I will help further the investigation. 2017, signed executive order targeting human trafficking. 2019, Epstein arrested during Trump's presidency. 2025, released Epstein files phase 1. Now, the thing about it is those files they're talking about, they had 4 years when Trump wasn't in office. Of course, they did the Mar-a-Lago raid trying to get files. The Epstein files weren't in Mar-a-Lago, so they didn't get them from there. However, the files that they did have, they had 4 years to wood chipper and just, promptly get rid of. And I'm pretty sure that they just said, you know what, we need to get rid of these things or it's going to make our guys look bad. We just need to do something about it. No, sound guy, it was much, much bigger than that. Okay, anyway, so there was falling bodies too, right? Right? Okay, stop with the bad radio sound effects. Anyway, so Trump was the first person to speak out about Epstein many years ago. Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago when he found out. Trump's DOJ, or Department of Justice, was the first to make Epstein a public figure and arrest him. So, no matter what they say about that one, that is,
Put that thing back where it came from, or so help me.
Yeah, Epstein got caught with, I have a overboard. Never mind. So Epstein got caught creeping out on kids, got chucked out, and Trump was so disgusted with him, was like, you know what? I'm going to follow up on this guy and put the X on it and many, many apostrophes. Okay, so it's not going to happen. And he's not playing those games. Jeez. Patriot fever. Is it racist for gators to prefer Mexican rice and not gumbo, or in their gumbo? Sorry, prefer Mexican rice in their gumbo. Well, yeah, Patriot fever. The other one I heard too was they were being referred to alligator Alcatraz as Gator Gitmo. I like Gator Gitmo better. I really truly do, because it describes the exact amount of you guys really truly are just that kind of people. You basically are breaking the law. You're in the country illegally. And you're doing some, just superficially, just societally nasty stuff. Okay, you're sneaking in. You're being obnoxious. Obviously, there's a lot of criminal element here. So those guys aren't exactly, the nicest people to have in the country. Then you don't know who they are. This is positively kind of one of those disgusting things that really only some godless heathens such as the Chinese would pull off and go, see, ain't this cute? No, they're doing it because it's seen as something socially unacceptable here, and it's actually intended to upset the apple cart. So, in Los Angeles, it may as well be San Francisco, but in Los Angeles, California, there was the RizzBot. So, RizzBot. Now, you got to substitute the R for a J. And I'm not going to call it the inappropriate phrase, but they were calling it the RizzBot. Now, why would you put a J in front of RizzBot? Well, because the thing was dressed up like a gay robot walking around, and it's an AI-powered robot, 4 feet tall, weighs 77 pounds, and it's manufactured by the Chinese-based Unitree Robotics. The humanoid agent develops based on deep reinforcement learning and stimulation training. So they had this Gaylordian robot walking around, and it said basically RizzBot on board, not another biatch. So this thing's walking around, it's completely rainbowed out, wearing a sombrero. There's only one thing I would have done to this stupid thing. If I'd seen that thing doing it, I would have chucked a bucket of melted French vanilla ice cream in its face and said, ooh yeah, take my load of cream, you nasty ass biatch. RizzBot is an obvious take on J word is bot. I would have loved to have thrown some ice cream on that thing. That would have just been blank and hilarious. These people, like you were saying, Martina Sasquatch, wow. This woman said she was dehumanized because a guy, sound guy, this is your favorite part of the show. A guy walked by and proceeded to, yeah, so supposedly a guy walked by and went, okay, that one was a good one. Thanks, sound guy. Woman, it was fresh because it just happened, but my wife and I went to the store, the grocery store right by our house, just to buy like junk food and stuff. Okay, as soon as you say like anything, you just lost like 20 IQ points in most people's view of how you're stating anything. So this was a problem, a problem it's like there is no like. It is as if. It is a problem as if you were to describe something. Not a problem like. Like is you're describing a positive aspect of something. I like this. No, there is no like. It is as if. And wanted junk food and stuff, because we were really tired and just wanted some sweet treats. And we were walking down the aisle, and there were like two guys that walked up next to us. You know, Peyton like walked away. My wife walked away for just a second, and they were like snickering to themselves or something. And I really don't think much of it, so I'm just looking at the candy aisle, trying to decide which candy I want. And he walks by and gets like inches from me, and just it just rips one like farts. Like this far from me. That's disgusting to say. I can't even believe I'm having to say this, but he did. And it's about that time, sound guy. It's about that time. Peyton walked up and was like, "Didn't you witness what happened?" And like seconds later, I'm like upset and I follow after them. And I was like, I'm like upset, and I follow after him, and I was like, is there a reason why you were so disrespectful to me? Anyway, sound guy. Continuing on in the story, friend, come here. Woman, and he never felt so dehumanized. Oh, jeez. Okay, even if he thought it was funny to just rip one by you, I don't think, sound guy, I don't think it was like, like life ending.
Fatality.
Stop, sound guy. Oh, I think she just really needed to, relax and fart. Okay. Sound guy. Stop. Oh, sound guy. Sound guy. Okay, well, some guy walked up to you and farted on you. I think your life will continue. I felt so dehumanized. He just walked up to me and... Okay, this is like Sound Guy's favorite part of the show, where I actually give him an excuse to play fart noises, okay? Stop! Sound Guy, please! Anyway. And she looks like somebody who's so easily just beyond wimpy. I don't even want to know what kind of like candy she was eating. This one is hilarious. There's a picture of this really kind of, I don't know if I can really do it justice, but this really kind of fluff ball looking, just trendy type chick. Green hair, way too much eye makeup, multiple facial piercings, and she put on her post, when a dude in Denver almost hit my car and then yelled at me, "Watch it, pronouns!" I don't think that anybody really is like, being like, okay, I'm so beholden to your cause, miss. Oh, man. This one, I cannot do it justice other than to simply say, this is absolutely blanking amazing. So, Donald Trump supposedly has been talking to Coca-Cola and saying, look, why don't you just make Coke the way that you used to and get rid of all this stupid stuff and, of course, make RFK Jr. happy in the process? Could you possibly make Coke the way that you used to? And Coca-Cola was like, well, we could. So here's the post, real Donald Trump. I've been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in the United States. Now, if you buy Mexican Coke, it has sugar because they don't use high fructose corn syrup. They use sugar. And they've agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all those in authority at Coca-Cola. This will be a very good move by them. You'll see. It's just better. Thanks, sound guy. So Coca-Cola is going to get sugar again. Now, I've had a problem. And I can show you guys the can of what the problem is. For years, I've been drinking Pepsi with sugar. Now, the problem is, I don't know what they did to it. I don't know how they reformulated it. I used to be able to drink this stuff, no issue at all. If I drink it now, and I actually had to do like an emergency room visit, and I actually do a doctor's visit, because it's not playing nice with one of my medications. Now, I talked to, like, the nurse practitioner, and we were discussing things. Of course, this is like, aftercare. We did like a verbal, visual, sign-in type of thing, visual office visit, as it were. And she said essentially that when they put certain dyes in them, it can make you react. Now, that makes sense, because when they do any kind of like testing, they'll put a dye into your bloodstream. Obviously it's a radiological version, so, the x-ray can see it. And there's other contrast stuff that they'll put in there so it shows up. So potentially they got something new in here, and it even tastes a little different from the last time I remember drinking it. Like, this batch is different than the last batch that I drank a long time ago, but now it's not playing nice with my current medications. So I can't drink this stuff. Literally, I can't drink this stuff. And as a test, I cracked a can, like, maybe like about a week or so later after, the blood pressure episode where I finally stabilized. Took like 3 or 4 sips out of this and immediately started feeling sketch. So they did something to this stuff, and I don't know what it is, but I can't drink Pepsi with sugar anymore. Coke with sugar, Diet Coke, Coke Zero, all the rest of those, doesn't bother me in the slightest. Coke with sugar, not a problem. Pepsi with sugar, something is sketch, man. Martina Sasquatch, he just wants RC Cola with sugar. I agree with you. I like RC. And when Coca-Cola came out with New Coke back in the day, read like the mid-'80s, I think it was, 86, 87, somewhere in there, they tried that crap. I was drinking RC. I literally was drinking RC. Just out of protest, I was like, I'm not drinking New Coke. It sucks. It was, yeah, even Sound Guy. Thanks, Sound Guy. RC Cola. Anyway, even Sound Guy remembers that, New Coke was, yeah, New Coke was dookie. Anyway, so this is now breaking news. PBS, NPR, USAID, or USAID, have all been officially defunded by the House and Senate. Currently, dead duck. Now there's people going on, oh, PBS is suffering a waste on the vine. Oh. Wrong. 2% of their budget is supplied by the federal government. They're going to do just fine. And they're going, well, we have to close all these offices, and there's going to be people out of work, and we'll have to suspend production on all this marvelous entertainment. Dude, PBS truly has maybe about 0.5% of viewable, watchable stuff. The rest of it is just left-hearted, moronic pap that's boring and about as exciting as watching paint dry. Okay? It is not good stuff. Step off on that one. Move away from the crack pipe. I don't know what you guys are smoking, but that ain't it. This one I think is absolutely hilarious. So this one is Lies, More Lies, Complete and Total Bravo Sierra, Barbara Streisand. And you all caused this in recent times. It is not a naturally occurring ailment. Study. No links been found between aluminum in vaccines and autism. Interesting. So a new study out of Denmark challenges claims that aluminum in childhood vaccines pose health risks. You ever notice these guys cause the problem and then go, oh, no. We have the cure. If you're causing the problem, you say you got the cure, you're the reason for the problem. Let's see. Martinez, what were you saying there? Rogers, Click, and Clack are gone. I have no reason to care. Well, I used to like watching PBS because they actually played Red Dwarf, but they played it late at night. So that's the only part that kind of sucked. But I like to watch Red Dwarf. Some PBS programming is actually more BBC programming, but you can find all that stuff online now. So PBS, you are a dinosaur, and you're pretty much just going to go by the wayside because, well, you're just going, well, you're just no more. You're not the only game in town, okay? There's way too many other places to stream stuff from. You're not going to be the only place you can find these things. So everybody doesn't need to go, I need to go over here because this is the only place to find it. It's the only place. Yeah, it's just going to, yeah, and it's going to suffer.
Snoo!
It's not going to suffer snoo.
Death!
Okay, you cut that one off early. He cut it off early.
Death! By...
Okay, he's going to have to make one death by... That's going to have to be the next one he makes. Let's see. Scrolly. I love these guys. I mean, they basically, try to, oh, well, I got to fix the problem here because the problem is so major. This, that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, have you guys saw the thing with the kiss cam with the two idiots basically getting caught on kiss cam as they were having their extramarital affair as they're both married to other people? So the guy, quote, I want to acknowledge the moment that's been circulating online and the disappointment it's caused. Dude, it wasn't disappointment. We were just laughing at your dumbass. What was supposed to be a night of music and joy turned it. No, it was not music and joy. You were stopping the HR chick at your workplace, okay? Let me tell you, and I've been in that situation before. If you're boning somebody else at work, everybody knows you're smashing, okay? Even if you're not, overt about it, your behavior to one another will be minusculely, moderately. It's going to be different. Everybody's going to go, oh yeah, they're kicking it. They're doing the deed. And there's more than a little bit of those guys just kind of
Snoo!
Okay, it was snoo. It wasn't wee. I don't routinely go wee. I routinely go
Snoo!
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I routinely go snoo, not wee. Night of joy and music and joy turned out to be a deeply personal mistake played out on a public stage. Deeply personal mistake? You were stopping the HR chick, you dumbass. I want to sincerely apologize to my wife, my family, and the team at Astronomer, which is even more humorous on the footnote on this one because he was promptly babooted. Yeah, he was told no amount of unceremonious glee. GTFOH. We're not dealing with your dumbass anymore. You deserve better from me as a partner, as a father, and as a leader. Okay, well, you've just been fired from work. I'm sure your wife is now ready to divorce your dumbass. The HR chick hasn't said, okay, I'll hang out with you and kick it some more. No, you basically got publicly outed, hosed, boned, left in a puddle, and just the girls going, okay, that was nice, goodbye. Ugh. This is not who I want to be or how I want to represent the company I helped build. Not anymore, you don't, because you got fired. I'm taking time to reflect, take responsibility, and figure out the next steps. Yeah, you're basically going to have plenty of time because you got fired. Personally, professionally, I ask for privacy as I navigate that process. Dude, you just got so publicly outed in your little stupfest, there is no privacy. I also want to express how troubling it is that should have been a private moment became public without my consent. Jackass, you're hanging out with a crowd of how many thousands of other people at a public event in a concert place where they're showing the camera at the crowd reaction at a sports arena. You honestly think you have privacy? You are an idiot. Just give me 1 second here. I respect artists and entertainers, but hope we can all think more deeply about the impact of turning someone else's life into a spectacle. Dude, you are a blanking idiot. As a friend once sang, lights will guide you home and ignite your bones. I will try to fix you. Dude, first and foremost, if you're going to be embarrassed about anything, and people have been joking about this forever, and I was thinking this the first thing myself. If you want to be embarrassed about anything, not the fact that you were stooping the HR chick and you got caught on camera, publicly embracing one another in a not so, just, hey, let's hang out buddy manner. It's the fact you were hanging out at a Coldplay concert, okay? That alone is public embarrassment levels, depths, and breadths I shan't even get into. But, dude, you try to play this one off as, well, this should have been a private moment. No, you're an idiot. You did it to yourself. This one, I truly am waiting for the axe to fall on the other two morons. But if you haven't heard already, and it hasn't been posited enough in all the news medias about how unhappy they are that this has occurred, financial reasons, probably a little bit more than that. But Stephen Colbert, Late Show, not just him, but the entire Late Show, done. Dead duck, just goodbye, not happening anymore. Just dead duck.
Death! By Snoo Snoo!
That's not Snoo Snoo, dude. No, that's
Death! By
big time. That is dry, no warning, just wee. Yeah, he is getting it deep, hard, and fast. So anyway, what's going on here essentially is there's Skydance, I believe, is the one that's supposed to be purchasing, and against, or Paramount is selling CBS, and Skydance is buying it. It's like I remember hearing like names being thrown around, but it just really didn't stick because it's all that corporate stuff that just really doesn't mean anything to me, by the way. So anyway, what's happening is actually CBS as a component is being sold from Paramount. Well, Paramount basically got stopped by Donald Trump because they put it out there that, oh, CBS and, 60 Minutes, it's completely truthful. No, they basically edited a story, and they got caught editing a story, and they were trying to make, how do I say this without saying this? They were trying to make,
Don't want to come. Do not come. Do not come. Don't come.
Okay, I wouldn't have said it like that, sound guy. You can't erase it after you put it out there, okay? So, Kamala was just verbal stupidity, and they're like, oh, no, we have to make this look better because she doing what she does. Are you done, sound guy? I think we know what Kamala is known for in her past dalliances, as it were. Okay. Anyway. Would you stop for a second, please? Anyway, so they tried to make her look good, and they were doing basically tweaking around her appearances to make it look like she was way more competent and actually more astute than she really truly was. And that's about as nice as I could possibly say it. They were trying to make her look good. And they were trying to make her look good in such a way that it gave a election lift. And Trump's like, look, you're basically giving me like 97% bad press. You're pumping her up to make her look, well, competent. And in the process of doing that, you're doing it in such a way that it's blatantly obvious to anybody that sees the way that you respond to me, the way that you represent me, your news stories concerning me, versus all these things that you do on her side of the aisle, which is just glowing, absolutely the most charitably wondrous. We truly have to do everything possibly to help her just do everything amazing because, she is just like that. Okay, I don't know about the screaming, but GTA wasted. Okay, anyway, so anytime that CBS talks about Kamala, okay, I think we get that, all right? And when they talk about Trump, okay, I don't think they would guillotine him off, but okay. Anyway, so he tried to play the games that now they're only doing this because the big sale behind the scenes. It's not like it's really just my fault. CBS is sucking up now because he knows he's getting S-hit canned. S-hit canned. You got the word there. He's being S-hit canned. He now thinks he's got open license to talk, and be completely snarky as possible up until such time as his show ends. Here's the behind the scenes. Yes, CBS is being sold to another entity. I think it's Skydance. Well, the rest of the story is his production generates zero in terms of expenses versus cost. Like, literally, his show costs $40 million to produce. If it generates 10 to 15, that might be generous. So, he has this is laughable, folks. People do podcasts and they have like minimal amounts of staff and like big names. Like you look at Joe Rogan, he doesn't have that many people working for him. He's huge. I mean, he basically does his own research, all stuff like that there. Rob Carson, another guy, huge podcaster. There's obviously other big names, minimal amount of staff. Yes, I know there's video enterprises going on here, but Gutfeld is huge. What's his production consist of? A studio and setting up mics for like 5 or 6 people. What does Mr. Colbert really produce? Not much. I mean, he does some minimal amount of video effects. Obviously, they got a band or some such going on there. But he has 200 people working for him. And when it all comes out and it's all said and done, it's him standing on a stage going, Bush is, bad. Trump is bad. Clinton is great. Obama's God. Kamala should have won. All that stuff coming out by the wayside really shows you what the deal is. Absolutely. Martina Sasquatch says, the Late Show is losing money. No, it's not just losing money, dude. It is a cash hole. They're throwing cash in and going, why are we doing this? The audience level is minimal. Of course, you have, the clapping seals in the audience. You're so great. You have the clapping seals in the audience, and it's really not hard to find a group of people that hate Trump, and it's like, hey, would you like to sit in the audience and hate Trump together? Yeah, that sounds great. Let's do that. It's a hate Trump group. That's really, truly all it is. So if you have a show that is consistently bagging on the one guy, it's a one-note thing. Now, if any of you guys know any history, you'll know that Ted Nugent was the big deal back in the 70s, kind of towing into the 80s. Well, the running joke was just ridiculous, overly accentuated machismo on stage. Showing the big fake schlong and, kind of that whole crotch grabbing thing and everything. And at first people were like, yeah, man, he's a man's man, da-da-da. But after you see it 10 or 15 times, it's like, okay, he's just grabbing his junk. It gets worn out kind of quick. So if you have that one note thing where you're just constantly bagging on Trump, I can't tell you how much you're going to run out of material really, really quick. And you're pretty much just going, see how much Trump sucks? He sucks because he sucks. How much does he suck? He really sucks. He sucks. He sucks and sucks. Eventually, you run out of time just between times where you're not saying anything that you haven't already said before, rehashing completely, or finding a new nuance to go, this is insulting enough to try now. Yeah, you guys speak with this flowery speech, but when it comes right down to it, you're saying the same thing over and over and over and over again. People are just tired of hearing it, so they're tuning out. Also, again, you have that whole streaming thing. You don't need to watch TV late at night on broadcast TV. Yeah. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not. This is pretty hilarious. It's going to get a little technical for 1 second. Now, obviously, everybody's probably flown in their life at least once. You look at the cabin door, it's, 3.5 feet wide, better part of 6.5 feet tall. It's basically a big chunk. When you come into the plane, the door goes into the plane and swings back out of the plane and locks against the inside of the plane. Now, air pressure, sea level, which is pretty much where I'm at, is 14 pounds, 13.9, somewhere, depending on barometric pressure, it varies a little bit. Be 13.9, 14.1, about basically it's 14 pounds of air pressure, okay? So 14 pounds per square inch. So, you have that door. It's flanged to close against the outside of the plane. It's basically locked. As soon as you go up and you start heading up in altitude, air pressure goes down. Air gets less dense the further up you go. So it started at 14 pounds, and by the time you're at 35,000 feet, 40,000 feet, it is about 3.5 pounds. So, say that door is 3.5 feet by 7 feet, whatever it is. That door has probably somewhere in the order of 20 to 50,000 pounds of square inch pressure holding it closed. There's no way in the world you're going to exert enough force to unlock the door and go and open it up. It's not going to happen, okay? The running joke on a plane is it's an overinflated cigar full of people. So, this guy didn't know the physics. Well, there's an unconfirmed report. A flight from Omaha to Detroit declared an emergency and landed in CR. I forget where CR is, but landed in CR because a passenger tried to open the emergency door mid-flight. Now, the emergency door is still smaller, but still, there's probably somewhere in the order of 12 to 50,000 pounds of pressure on that too. Okay, it's not just opening up because you're going opening the lock and going It's not gonna budge. So anyway, this doofus tried to open the door, and the police. Cedar Rapids, Iowa. So the police were dispatched to Eastern Iowa Airport following an incident where somebody tried to open the door in flight and exit the plane. Buddy, you're not going to exit the plane at 30,000 feet. Hell, you're not going to open the door when you're at 10,000 feet. It ain't going to happen. Because literally every 10,000 feet, you've probably lost about 3 pounds of air pressure. You're not opening that door. Good luck. You're going to open it on the ground, so maybe that's what he should have done. He should have been taxiing down the runway, opened the door, and said, "I'm out." And he probably got bounced around the runway a good bit, but that would have been fun to watch. Him basically, windmilling down the runway, just going, ow, 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 at a couple hundred miles an hour until he finally went, and he slid to a stop. That would have been epic. I would have truly would have enjoyed to hear about that guy just. Okay, I think he hit once, sound guy. I think he hit once. Golf clap. Okay. Anyway, we got it.
Oh my.
Stop. So he tried to open the door in flight. Ain't gonna go. Got numerous pictures of people doing that Coldplay thing and redoing it. Absolutely hilarious. Some of these I really can't take out of Facebook because they're really kind of sketch. Scrolly. Supposedly Jimmy Kimmel is lashing out at CBS for canceling Colbert. Check you. Gee, that was an original statement. I think he's really short for it. Let's see. Kimmel, the other group, all three of those guys, they're just done. It's just a matter of time. Now, I don't know if you heard about this one or not. This is one that Putin really hasn't counted on. This is soldiers' way of dealing with things. When you put them in a situation where they think potentially they're going to be looking down the barrel of a gun at the wrong direction and potentially there's no way out. Yeah, Putin has not put this one into his military decisions, but the troops have. So, there's now news stories coming out of the commanding officers commanding the guys to basically walk into the meat grinder, and I've used that phrase more than a few times. That basically describes soldiers being sent into a combat zone where they know they are dead duck done. Like DRT, dead right there. Those guys know they are walking into a suicide mission, mostly because the Ukrainian drones are just that blanking good. The Ukrainians are now building robot little tanks, driving up to them and just exploding. It is not a good day to be a Russian soldier walking around the Ukrainian battlefield because the Ukrainians are like, you know what? You guys might have the big money, you might have the big rockets and stuff, but you know what? We have an RPG that we've stuck on a drone, and we're just going to find you and just drop it on your noggin and blow you to kingdom come. So, the soldiers now have decided we're tired of fighting. We're not going to walk in the meat grinder. And Russian soldiers are now killing their platoon commanders. Then the mass surrender happens. Wow. That's a YouTube video I got posted up. Just give me 1 second here. Oh, yeah. Martinez Sasquatch, the Battle of Somme. Yes, those guys decided we ain't doing this no more and proceeded to exit the leaders. Wow. Scrolly. This one is a very interesting video I posted up on my my Facebook page. But essentially, there is a potential for the GOP, not with gerrymandering and not with this little stupid gameplay, but just simply because so many people are exiting out of California and other places where it's really, really, really blue, and the population is just like, done, had it, out of here. Sell the stuff, done. Moving to a better place, not dealing with this crap anymore, and they're bailing out. So, if things work the way that things work, the Republicans can gain 7-seat houses. Now, that doesn't sound like much, but it's where they're gaining the seats. That is big, big stuff. Scrolly. This one I find unbelievably intriguing, and this is the revision of history that essentially they tried to say, well, Obama truly was, he wasn't born in Kenya. Well, if you look at a newspaper posted up Sunday, January 27, 2004, Kenyan-born Obama all set for U.S. Senate. Where did those news stories go? Oh, that's right. You basically had, all the fact checkers calling you out, going, no, he was born here. He's perfectly good. Kenya-born U.S. Senate hopeful Barack Obama appeared set to take over Illinois Senate seat after his main rival, Jack Ryan, dropped out of the race on Friday amid a furor over lurid sex club allegations. That sounds like a setup. Dude got drug out somewhere and it's like, hey, check out the girls. So the allegations once horrified fellow Republicans caused the once promising candidacy to implode in 4 short days, had given Obama a clear lead as Republicans struggle to fetch an alternative. But yeah, this is the kind of news stories that really they've tried to hide. Remember what I said about the internet? There is no delete button. That stuff is out there. Going to the gun side of things, this is exceedingly cool. There's been a kind of mini revival in lever action firearms. And I do actually have a lever action gun myself. It is a Marlin 39A. Built back in the latter 50s. And that thing is a shooter. Literally 25 meters. If I'm steady enough, I'm shooting the same blanking hole. So, lever guns can shoot. It's just they have to be set up correctly. So, what's come out now? Well, obviously, Rossi and Taurus and obviously Henry and all these guys have, their namesake firearms. Well, the new hat in the ring, believe it or not, Smith & Wesson. Smith & Wesson is now making their version of a lever firearm. I believe it's in 30-30. I know it's in 45-70. But they now also have come out with something they call the Stealth Hunter. So basically you have a black finished weapon. It has polymer stocks, polymer forend, and it is set up with a thread protector to take off and screw on a quiet device. Yeah, and that puppy is now available in 357, 44 Magnum, and 45 Colt. Personally, I would probably say 357, although 44 actually hits harder. I think 357 is probably maybe just a little bit more forgiving in terms of distance and trajectory. Shoots a little flatter. And a 357 out of a rifle, you're probably talking at least another 200 to 300 feet per second. So it's really cooking the rounds out there without going, I need to just powder the thing to death. And you're not going to be beating the gun up trying to get additional oomph out of it because it's utilizing more of the powder because of the longer barrel rather than just making a poof. It's actually imparting that energy behind the bullet. Interesting piece. So it's called the Stealth Hunter. And it has potential, man. If you load that thing with light loads, there is nothing quieter than a lever action with a can on board. Trust me, that thing is quiet. Scrolly. This chick, I don't even know where in the world she came up and popped up out of the wayside, but there's no reason in the world that she really should be like given all that ridiculous attention. But we're talking about Molly Ringwald. Molly Ringwald. So the Breakfast Club, that's really nowhere as the Breakfast Club star Molly Ringwald says silver lining for Stephen Colbert is he's free to run for president. No, you stupid see you in Toledo? A hack late night moron is going to be president of these United States? You washed up snooty ass activist communist loving dirtbag. I cannot believe that she popped up on the wayside saying, you should vote for him. There's no reason in the world why he's even notable to be a political person of any stripe. President. My word. This is exceedingly cool. Most people don't think about this one, but F. Chuck Schumer, yeah. So the golden age of small arms ammunition. Part of Trump's big, beautiful bill no one is talking about. This one came over from ammoland.com. So ammo market be tough. Prices on 223 and 556 have calmed down since the wild days of 2020 and 2022. But finding cheap ammo still feels like a treasure hunt. But the one big, beautiful bill, or H.R. 1 from the 119th Congress, is a much disclosed and huge new funding bill signed into law by President Trump that's getting attention is for defense spending. So in other words, they're going to be making more ammo here. They're going to basically make it more available for the munitions guys to get a hold of the raw materials. Translation, ammo is going to be more plentiful and it's going to get cheaper. I could really get into it with way more detail than that, but it's going to be cool, folks. Stand by on that one. Scrolly. Just got way too many memes on here. Talked about Ozzy. Okay. This is kind of a cute one. I can read this one off real fast. So here's the way to tell if somebody has TDS or Trump derangement syndrome. Trump derangement syndrome is real. You may have TDS if you, quote, stop talking to a close family member or a longtime friend for voting for him without listening to their reasoning. If you truly believe the majority of Americans voted for him because you want racism and misogyny to rule the land. If you're incapable of naming one positive thing the man has done in spite of how you feel about him. If you're running around like a 5-year-old screaming, I told you so, to people who clearly don't regret their vote. If you can't appreciate the fact the man has opened the books and showed you the government takes money it should be used to help you and waste on gender-affirming care for lab mice. If you aren't the slightest bit angry about that, if you are actually sick enough to be paying for him to die or praying for him to die or fail, if you reduce people's logic reason for voting for the man for longing for bigotry to make a comeback, if you're still posting videos of you, quote-unquote, coping with him winning a second term, if you actually believe he can do a third term, if you keep calling him and people who voted for him all races, genders, and sexual orientations Nazis, if you are upset about him deporting dangerous criminal illegal migrants who broke our laws, even entering our nation, if you still are using the convicted felon label, quote unquote, to dismiss the views of your loved ones or former loved ones, knowing it was a weaponized sham of a trial that took misdemeanors that no one could have been charged with and turned into 34 felony counts during the election year, breaching the terms of statute of limitations. If you keep saying Trump is guilty of crimes he never currently charged with, if an allegation with no evidence is all it takes to find someone guilty. If you love bringing up his sins, but somehow have a blind spot for the sins of his rivals and get upset when people share them with you, if you're sterilizing yourselves because Trump won, any of the former, you might have TDS. Oh, man. So funny. I don't know if you guys heard about this one or not, but Obama, now that he's looking like potentially he's going to get called in, Tulsi Gabbard has already responded to Obama's office denial letter. But here's what I said. Flower repeats of subversionary tactics does not hide the fact you did something, tried to hide it, destroyed documents, and then tried to unseat a sitting president. You are guilty of something. That is an absolute truth. And we will find you out in time. All things become known. So here's Obama's actual little missive, shall we say. Out of respect for the office of presidency, our office does not normally dignify the constant nonsense and misinformation flowing out of this White House with a response. That denigrating kind of dismissive, he doesn't know what he's talking about, is immediately showing you're scared and you're worried. But these claims are outrageous enough to merit one. Yeah, because now you're looking really, really bad. And if you don't say something, you're going to look even worse. These bizarre allegations are ridiculous and a weak attempt at distraction. Distracting from what? The fact that he's doing positive things. He's done more than 6 months than you did in your entire 8 years of presidency. And the fact that the guy is very, very effective. And, oh yeah, he now has a mandate of doing things. Could that possibly be what it is? Nothing in the document issued last week undercuts the widely accepted conclusion that Russia worked to influence the 2016 presidential election, but did not successfully manipulate any votes. That's in blue. Translation: I know I'm Bravo Sierra-ing you, and I'm lying my ass off, but please believe my fake, farcical, ridiculous assertions here. These findings were affirmed in a 2020 report by the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee led by then-Chairman Marco Rubio. I think Marco Rubio was given an S-hit sandwich, and it was like, you know what? I just want this crap to end. Pontius Pilate, wash my hands clear of this crap. I feel dirty just being here. So the other side of it too is, oh yeah, what's Pontius Pilate / Marco Rubio doing now? Oh yeah, that's right. He's now part of Donald Trump's cabinet. And the guy's effective. I believe it's State Department. Let's see. Scrolly. Office of President Obama. Asshole. You're former President Obama. And hopefully your former President Obama in a jail with a good number on your back saying, this guy actually did this crap. Trump trolled the snot out of him, posting up a video on, was it Truth Social? And of course it went to Twitter and what have you. But I've seen the video and actually posted up a copy of the video up on my Facebook page of Obama being arrested and stuck in jail. Facebook immediately was like, music in some countries has been blocked because of copyright, this, that, and the other thing. Yeah, that's nice. You can block the music all you want to. The video content, you're not going to block, okay? That is what it is. The video where Tulsi Gabbard responds to Obama's office denial letter. I believe it's Fox News, but it's up on there. You just got to look a little bit. You'll find it. This one is hilarious. New Jersey tried to play we're going to have the you're not going to do that here type of thing. Yeah, nice try. Appeals court overturns New Jersey's law shielding illegals from deportation. No, they're going to get busted. Nice try. They're going to get busted. They're going to go to jail. Then they're going to get kicked out of the country. You can't overdo that on the federal side. Jim Parsons, the guy that basically played, Sheldon. But that guy, he's rich. I mean rich. Like really rich. Like dude's making tons of, like residuals. The show was on for a long time. It's very, very successful. He's got plenty of money. He's now complaining that, Trump is axing the, hang on a second here. Let me find the appropriate sound effect. I got this sound guy. He is axing the yeah, he's killing the Ow, it's sound guy. No, it's not that, okay? It's
Whoa, commentary.
Okay, I'm sure there's OEO involved. Stop.
X, Y, Z, P, D, Q, O, U, 812.
Oops, I dropped my gerbil.
Okay, I know that you're trying to. Okay, anyway, talking about the XYZPDQ OU812. Everybody's on board with the whole acronym there. I'm not reading theirs. So, the XYZPDQ OU812s. So, he's now complaining that Trump is axing a XYZPDQ OU812 crisis hotline as quote unquote literally criminal. Okay, Jim, it's a hotline for assistance. How much could it possibly cost to have somebody there 24/7 going, hello, XYZPDQ OU812 hotline, can I help you? How much could that possibly cost to have that person on staff answering the phone? You know what? You're rich. You can afford it. You can pay for it. Rather than the public paying for something to deal with the XYZPDQ OU812, oops, I dropped my lipstick crowd. If you really feel so beholden to this thing, you can basically take the tax break and pay for it yourself. That's it right there. Scrolly. Mike Johnson is now thinking about subpoena claims on Obama. About the Russian conspiracy. Interesting. Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to keep things rolling here. I'm trying to close it up, but I've been telling you guys this forever. Entry-level jobs do not justify high wages. Or places that are forced to do that will have less employees. So, what has happened to California since they stuck in the $20 fast food wage for minimum wage? Oh yeah, 18,000 jobs have gone by the wayside. And in a related story, In-N-Out Burger has moved their headquarters, or is moving their headquarters, from California after 77 years to Tennessee. Why? Better business climate. And I guarantee you, as soon as that profitability starts being outstripped by cost of business, they're going to close the stores and they're going to say, you know what? Bye. You guys figured out. Not playing your games anymore. Not basically supporting socialism by being raped, pillaged, and burned. Not doing it. Scrolly. Where are we at from that one there, sound guy? I think that's got everybody. Is that the last? Yeah, I think that is the last of it. Okay, I was trying to get it run out, so I was just looking at news stories. Okay, sorry. Jeez, he's jumping the gun here. All right, so got the music up, good stuff like that there. You guys hung out with me for the duration. I appreciate your kind attentions. Ozzy, commend you, sir. Tabs and companions. All right, so I'm going to break up with this one, folks. So you hung out with me on Tuesday. Thank you so much. You're going to go any other things new, but decided to hang out with me. I thank you guys for coming on by and checking out the scene. Good stuff like that there. I will catch you next week unless you see something sooner. Get a gold star for attendance. Thank you for hanging out with me. Good stuff. I will see you then. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I will catch you guys later. See you then. Catch you guys. Oh, eco camp tendering as always. You know it. You love it. See you guys.